Students, in the previous lecture we were looking at the applications of Gauss theorem to calculate the electric field at a point, in which we had seen the first application, that was for infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire, wherein we have a straight infinitely long uniformly charged wire and we found out electric field at a point due to this charged wire, and it came to be, the final expression was 1 upon 2 pi epsilon naught lambda upon r, where lambda is the linear charge density, r is the distance at which we have considered the observation point, and we found out the electric field at that point. The next topic for today is the second application, that is to find out the electric field due to uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Okay, so here we have a sheet, plane sheet, which is uniformly charged. So here your sigma is greater than 0. What is sigma? Sigma is surface charge density. Okay, so your charges are positive here, so sigma is greater than 0. Okay, so let us consider an infinitely large plane thin sheet of charge kept in the yz plane. So I have kept this in the yz plane, having surface charge density sigma, which is greater than 0. Okay, it is kept in a free space. Okay, now let us consider a point P, which is our observation point at a normal distance r from the plane, okay, where we wish to find out the electric field. So let us consider that point P is over here. Okay, now next what we need to do over here is draw a Gaussian surface. Correct? So to find out the electric field at this point P, such that the Gaussian surface passes through this point P. Okay, so now the Gaussian surface in this case can be a cylinder again, which is placed like this. Okay, or it can be a cuboid also, or it can be a cube also, no problem. It can take any shape. Only thing is it should be a closed surface. Okay, so here I'm going to draw a Gaussian surface, that is I'm going to draw a cylinder in this case. Okay, so here I have drawn a Gaussian surface, that is a cylinder. Okay, so now I need to find out the electric field at this point P due to uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Okay, so now obviously if I consider point over here also at the same distance, okay, this distance from here to here we have considered as r. At the same distance on the other side I consider another point, let's say P dash. Okay, so this is P, this is P dash. Let's find out the electric field direction at both the ends. Okay, so electric field direction for a positive charge is radially outwards, so the direction is going to be something like this. So this is going to be your ER, correct? Similarly on this side also it is going to be radially outwards on the other side, so ER. Okay, so now what we are going to do here is take the Gauss theorem, write down the statement for Gauss theorem, same as the previous derivation, find out the flux, find out the charge, substitute in the Gauss theorem and get the equation for the electric field. So the steps are going to remain same. Okay, so from the symmetry of this problem, the Gaussian surface in this case, as we saw, is a cylinder, okay, with a uniform cross-sectional area. Let's say this area on this side, cross-sectional area is A, this side also this area is A, let's consider. Okay, these areas are A. Okay, and let's consider P dash is the axis of this Gaussian surface. Okay, so by Gauss law, by Gauss's law or Gauss's theorem, okay, we know that the total electric flux, so I'll put it as E dot delta S with a closed line integral, that means that it is the total flux. Okay, this closed line integral means the total flux coming from the Gaussian surface, okay, is equal to the total charge enclosed in this Gaussian surface divided by epsilon naught. So this is the statement we know. Okay, so let's find out the total flux coming out from the Gaussian surface now. Okay, so consider the total flux coming out from the Gaussian surface. I am not writing phi again because phi is nothing but E dot delta S, so I have directly taken it down. Okay, so now in this case the total flux coming out from this Gaussian surface will be the contribution from three surfaces: the flux coming out from this surface, plus flux coming out from this surface, plus flux coming out from the circular surface. So now if you see the circular surface, okay, electric field is this way. Okay, and the area vector for the circular surface, that is ds, is going to be this way. So the angle between the electric field and the area vector is 90, and therefore what will happen? Cos of 90 is 0. Correct? So the flux coming out from the curved surface area will be 0 in this case. Okay, I hope you are understanding. Otherwise, to make it simple, we'll write it this way. Let's consider this as surface 1, okay, this as surface 2, okay, and this as surface 3. Okay, so as our usual method will do, so the total flux coming out from this entire cylinder or the Gaussian surface will be phi1 plus phi2 plus phi3. Okay, let's individually find it out. So coming to phi1, the area vector for this surface, circular surface, will be perpendicular to the surface outwards. So it is going to be ds1, let's say. Okay, the area vector over here is again perpendicular to the surface outwards. So it is going to be like this, ds2. Okay, and area vector for the curved surface area is again perpendicular to the surface outward. Let's say it is ds3. Okay, electric field here from this surface is radially outwards, from this surface is radially outwards. The electric field from this surface, the curved surface, is 0 again. Okay, that logic also you can use. So for phi1, okay, so for phi1, what is going to be your total flux coming out of the surface? It is going to be E dot ds1 plus here it is going to be E dot ds2, and here it is going to be E dot ds3, but unfortunately E is 0 in this case. Okay, so the flux coming out from the third surface is going to be 0. Okay, yes, so here it is going to be E dot ds1, E dot ds2, E dot ds3. Okay, so here it is going to be E into ds1 into cos of 0, because both are in the same direction. Okay, again here E into ds2 into cos of again 0, because both are in the same direction. So it is going to be E to ds1 plus E into ds2. And what is the area we have considered? Area of this cross surface area we have considered as A. So let us put it as A and A. So it is going to be 2 times EA. So the total flux coming out from the Gaussian surface we got as 2EA. Let's name this as 2. Let's name this as 1. Okay, now we have considered that this is a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. So the surface charge density, that is lambda, is given by the total charge enclosed divided by the surface area. Okay, so now here surface area will be which one? The surface area from which the flux is coming out. Okay, so the flux is coming out from this area and from this area. Okay, so the area is going to be A. Okay, it is not the area of the sheet. Okay, it is not the area of the sheet. Our area under consideration is just this part. Okay, forget about the top part and down part. So this is our area under consideration. So the area is going to be this cross-sectional area over here. Okay, so that is why we have taken it as A and not the area of the entire surface. Okay, yes, so this from here you will get Q is equal to lambda into A. So this is your equation 3. So what is the third step? Substitute 2 and 3 in equation 1 here. Okay, so what do we get? E dot delta S we have found out as 2EA, which will be equal to Q we found out as lambda into A upon epsilon naught. So what will happen? A and A will get cancelled. So from here E will be equal to lambda upon 2 epsilon naught. So this is the equation for the electric field due to uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Okay, at point P, which is at a distance of r. So if you see here, if you see over here, the electric field which you got, okay, electric field which you got over here, which is lambda upon 2 epsilon naught, is independent of this r. So you go any distance away, okay, electric field will remain uniform. Okay, you stay at 10 centimeter, you go to 20 centimeter, 30 centimeter, and so on. Okay, electric field is going to remain same for a uniformly charged infinitely plane sheet, because if you see this expression, it is independent of r. It only depends upon lambda. More the lambda, more the charge density, more will be the electric field. That's it. Okay. Another thing to remember over here is, for a positive charge, electric field will always be pointing outwards on both the sides, and for a negative charge, electric field will be pointing inwards. Okay, and the last point to remember, again I'll repeat, that the electric field for a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet is independent of the distance to the observation point. Okay, it will remain uniform throughout the vicinity of the uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Okay, so this is the second application. In the next class we will see the third application and the final application, that is for the uniformly charged spherical shell. Okay, so this is it for today's class. I'll see you in the next class.